we all have an Everest in us. That Everest is a big dream of us, a big achievement that we want to go after. Sometimes the journey will be very long. It took me 11 years. And then the person who was calling said, we have to bring Sunil down because of an emergency. So these, I would say, are the most scariest parts. But for me, the most scariest was seeing these dead bodies. I saw 2 of them actually. I think that's the best way to say goodbye.
So as far as I know, there are 18 routes we have to climb, and there are 2 very famous routes we have. One is from northeast ridge that comes from China, and one is South Col from Nepal.
Yeah. The problems start happening from Camp 2 and Camp 3 onwards, because a lot of the Sherpas today don't want their kids to become Sherpas.
Did you get a chance to meet the death? Hello my YouTube family, how are you doing? I'm sure you all are doing pretty well, isn't it? Thank you so much. I know you have been waiting for this moment, for this interview, so I have Sunil Natraj in the studio. Sunil, welcome to Bear Books.
Thank you so much, Raj. It's a pleasure to be on your channel.
Okay.
And thanks for inviting me again.
The pleasure is all mine. You know what, Sunil? When people say that I'm at the top of my career, it's just a feeling. But when you say I'm at the hover of the Everest, you actually see.
Yeah.
You have summited the Everest.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
It was a very, very unbelievable feeling when I first set foot on Everest. And it was probably only after 5-10 minutes I realized that I am one of the 5,200 odd people in the world, entire world, who is seeing the world from the highest point. Okay, so that was very, very special.
How was the view from there?
Man, you know, it's hard to explain that. Everything is just very small. The mountains are very small, and you feel that you are the tallest person in the world.
I agree.
That's the way I really felt there.
Okay, so the things which you do, right, mountaineering part, right, is a very costly or very time-consuming venture. So what do you do for a living that allows you to do this, that take your time and money?
Good question. I am employed by an American multinational company. I am a product marketing director.
Okay.
And the beauty of my job is I can work from anywhere.
Wow.
Okay, I don't have to be in the office. I don't have to be doing the programming. You know, I just need an internet connection, and I can literally work from anywhere. And I used to work from the base camp. Whenever there was an internet connectivity, I used to work from there. And training, I would do it in the mornings when I'm in Bangalore, or in the evenings. So that didn't impact my day-to-day work activities. But the 45 days of expedition, literally I worked 25 days from the base camp.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. So how long you have been trying for this, and how much time did you take to go at the top of this world, I must say?
I'll have to start back from 2011. That was my dream of summiting Everest, which I dreamt in 2011. Just because my flight, or a mountain flight that would take me around Everest, got cancelled. So the first thought that came to my mind was, hey, why should I see Everest from a flight, but I rather see the world from its peak? So this thought just stuck in my mind, like, maybe you should say it got stuck in my subconscious mind, because things started happening since then. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the first thing is, I had to generate the required funds, because the expeditions are very expensive these days. And I had to change my job, get onto a better position, get onto a senior leadership level, so that I can get some shares from the company. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started accumulating funds.
Sunil, before you talk more about the Everest part, we have a lot of discussion about it. But before that, before we talk about anything, I want to know the scariest stories. I want to know the scariest part of this mountain, because that is what I'm absolutely very, your profile is very captivating, intriguing as well. So I want to see that part.
You mean the scariest part of Everest?
Yes, everything that people see, when they see that people are going there, climbing that, they enjoy, they clap, but they do not know the scary part, that what you go through there. I want to start with that.
So there are multiple scary parts in Everest, and the first part, it's like your basic entrance examination, right? It's the Kumbu ice fall.
Yeah.
Okay, there is no rocks there. There is no solid ground on the Kumbu ice fall. It's all frozen ice blocks that have frozen over thousands of years, and it's called a glacier. And these glaciers are now melting. Okay, so you don't have a stable ground.
Right.
The ice blocks are moving, and you would have seen in documentaries and movies that people use ladders to cross between two ice blocks. They use huge ladders to go up. So that's the first scariest part, because that is where a lot of casualties happen, because you do not know when the ice block will fall. They're all balancing very precariously, okay, if that is the right word. So that's the first scariest part. The second scary part is something called a Lhotse phase. Okay, it's almost a 75-degree inclination, and you need to pass that inclination for almost like 700 meters. Okay, so you're just like pulling yourself up throughout that, and that is scary because a lot of people quit at that point because it's so intimidating, right? It's a very long walk, it's a very steep incline, and finally you are around 200 meters from the summit. There is something called a Hillary step.
What is that?
Hillary
step.
It's named after Edmund Hillary.
Okay.
First person who
just climbed
Everest.
Yeah.
It's named after him.
Right.
And it's a 85-degree inclination, and it's pure rock. There is no ice on that. Okay, and you're wearing something called crampons to your shoe. Those are like the things with the nails, so that you can grip on the ice.
Yeah.
And you can't grip on solid rock. Okay, you're slipping. Most of the time you're slipping, but you need to keep pulling yourself up. That is the most scariest part, because most of the casualties on Everest happen there, either when you are ascending or descending. And at that place you find a remains of a body of a climber who died 14 years back, and his remains are still there, intact. And when you are at that altitude and your mind is already gone crazy with all that climb, and when it sees that dead body, it freaks out. Okay, you are literally unable to move at that height, seeing the dead body. Okay, and you just pass through it. Then you climb the Hillary step, and then you reach the Everest. So these, I would say, are the most scariest parts. But for me, the most scariest was seeing these dead bodies. I saw two of them actually. One was a 14-year-old dead body, and another one was a 4-year-old remains.
So which part of the mountain you have seen that bodies, and where you have a fair chance to get died?
That's the Hillary step.
And what is the reason behind it?
The Hillary step is very torturous to climb. As I said, it's pure rock. You slip because you are wearing crampons. You don't get grip on that pure rock, and you keep slipping. And and you are just around 200 meters from the peak of Everest.
Okay.
And Hillary step is where casualties happen. Okay, because people slip and fall, and people don't summit further because they cannot, because they have lost all the energy. And then you see the remains of these two climbers, and then the mind goes nuts. Hey, what happens if this happens to you, right? So it's a very freaky moment there.
So I have watched few of the videos, few of the interviews of the mountaineers, right, where they mentioned their legs, hands, fingers are chopped off.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen the pictures as well. The fingers are green and black. Mm-hmm. What is this all about?
Okay, so you don't have to chop them off. They can just literally fall off. Okay, this is called a frostbite. Okay,
Frostbite.
It's called a frostbite, and it usually happens to your fingers, toes, or to your nose. And what is a frostbite? If you think about it, your body is largely water, right? And at some times in the mountains, the temperature can drop up to -30, -40. This can literally freeze the water in your skin. And there are some sensitive areas like your fingers, your toes, your nose, where the skin freezes. There's no blood circulation to those parts, and then the parts start rotting. Okay, that is why you see that green and black color.
So
fingers.
how did you manage to get rid of these things?
Yeah, interestingly, I had a frostbite on my nose last year when I was summiting a 7,000 meter peak. The weather was absolutely fine. We were doing the summit push. We were at around 7,000 meters, and suddenly the weather changed. The temperature dropped to almost like -30. The wind speeds increased to 40 kilometers per hour. And if you do the math of these two, you're literally at around -45 degrees. And it was just for a few minutes I removed the face mask. Because of my beard, everything, the moisture was accumulating.
You were itching.
It was getting icy, right? There was a lot of ice formation, and I just removed my mask to brush it off. And within a few seconds, I couldn't feel my nose. So literally it was what you call as a second degree frostbite. And I had to come down from 7,000 meters back to Kathmandu as quickly as possible. And then the doctor told me that, hey, if this doesn't heal by itself in the next 7 to 10 days, we might have to cut off part of your nose and then regraft it.
Oh, wow.
But fortunately, the body and mind, I think they collaborated well, and I was able to recover, and I still have my nose intact. So it's called a frostbite. It's very common, and that is why we have to keep moving our toes. Right, we have to wear a shoes that is 1 inch bigger than our size, so that we can move we can move the toes inside. We'll have to keep moving our fingers. Otherwise, there is a risk of getting frostbitten.
I can relate a little bit to this because when I was in US in Minnesota, it was -40.
Yeah,
and I just came out and I was doing one experiment part where I have seen one of the videos where they throw the water, it become it came into snow.
Yeah.
I was trying it, and the moment I did that, my hands were like cracking.
right.
I was like, it will break.
Yeah.
Nothing is there. So I can imagine, like, for few minutes I was there on that environment, and you have been there for many days. I can imagine.
Yeah.
There's one thing which I want to talk about, avalanche.
Avalanches,
avalanches, if I'm not pronouncing it incorrectly. I have heard about these things. So can you just, my viewers would like to know what is this all about in case any of the aspirant mountaineers we have watching
So
it.
avalanches are common in the snowy mountains at high altitudes, and especially in the daytime when the sun is a little bit higher. Some of the snow melts and it creates what you call a tumbling down effect. So it starts loosening up, and it starts coming down the mountain with huge force, and on its way it starts pulling everything on its way. So these are called as avalanches.
So is it kind of in the form of rock or in the form of
It
something?
could be rock, because if the avalanche is very, very strong, it can bring down with it the big ice formations, the ice blocks,
Yes.
which can literally kill a person. And they come at a huge speed. You cannot even escape from it. And fortunately, Everest is not known for such avalanches.
Okay.
The most dangerous mountain in the world that is very, very hard to climb because of these avalanches happening very, very frequently is Annapurna in Nepal, and it's one of the most dangerous mountains in the world. It's not that tall; it's just around 8,100 meters, but only a handful of 500-600 climbers have climbed Annapurna till date. Because of the risk of avalanches, it can just sweep you apart.
So if you, just out of my curiosity, if you get stuck in one of the situation where you are under the snow, how to come out? What is the process? Like, are you trained properly that if you get into this situation, what is the way out?
It's
Because it is absolutely, you have no idea. Taking example, when you're in the water, you know that you have to go up.
Yeah.
But under the snow, you have no idea where we have to go,
Yeah.
which way I have to come out.
Yeah. If the snow is loose, probably you can attempt to come out, because normally you are roped to a fixed line. You are using a fixed line, and you are always roped to that fixed line. Okay. And you will have your guides. If they are up the snow, they'll be able to pull you out. However, if the snow is very hard and if you're under ice, very, very difficult. The chances are absolutely 1% for you to survive.
So from my research, and correct me if I'm wrong, if my data is incorrect, I got to know there are 256 dead bodies are up there.
Yep.
On the mountain, right? So what are the chances the next person up there is not gonna be 253?
There is every possibility, right? And even I could have been one of them. And that's the risk of high altitude climbing. And most of the deaths happen at extremely high altitudes because of lack of oxygen. You basically make some very silly mistakes and you fall away from the mountain. The biggest cause of death is something called cerebral edema, wherein due to lack of oxygen, water accumulates in your brain and your thinking capacity is lost, literally. And when that happens, you don't know how you will react at that particular altitude. Okay, you may not even want to come back. You will not want to listen to your guides or the Sherpas, what they are normally called as. So, and I've seen some live incidents when I was summiting. People are coming down, they spent a lot of time on the summit, they were exhausted, they had no oxygen left in their tanks, and then they started accumulating fluid in their brain. They started acting very weird, they didn't want to come down.
In one of the videos I did notice that there was one mountaineer, he was taking off all the clothes.
Yep.
And people were saying, don't do that, but he was not listening to anybody.
So a very similar incident happened this year, where one of the climbers was trying to pull his what you call the down suit off, and he was very fortunate to have survived because of his Sherpa. And when we asked him at the base camp why he was doing that, he vaguely remembered and he said, I was just seeing gardens.
Oh yeah.
And I was feeling so warm.
Right.
I just wanted to get my clothes off. Okay, so this is something called a cerebral edema. This is very, very common in high altitude climbing, and most of the people succumb because it's very difficult to get such people back to safety because they have lost their sense of mind. Okay, they have lost their thought process. How do you get a person down a 80-degree inclination, right, when he's not listening to you, when he doesn't even want to get onto your back, right? So there are very, very less chances of such people surviving.
So who should not be climbing? What kind of person should not go for this?
I've seen a lot of different types of people climb, but the people with high blood pressure, right, with any type of cardiovascular issues, they don't, or they are not allowed to even climb, right? And it's not
people
safe
who
for them.
has a vertigo issues.
Vertigo is also a problem, but I have not seen any people succumb due to vertigo.
I have a serious concern with vertigo. That's why I'm asking that. That's why I'm asking, because when I see the height and I said my legs are shivering, and my mind is just not even under my control. Like it says, okay, you will fall down. You will fall down. So that's why I'm asking.
So Raj, what I have realized and what I have learned is, in high altitude mountaineering, your physical strength is just 30% of the story.
Mental.
Your mental endurance is the remaining 70%.
I agree, 100%.
And that's what people train to get their thought process sorted out, right? Can you control your thoughts now? Impossible, right? Otherwise you'll be called an enlightened being. Can you control what type of thoughts get into you? Not possible. However, what we can do is, whenever there is a negative thought coming, rather than indulging into that thought, right? Can we put a full stop and convert that into something positive?
How do you do that? Like,
That's training. That is
That's training.
meditation. It has taken me, years of meditation, right? And I've trained to be more aware. The mountains have taught me to be more aware because it involves a lot of awareness, right? To get into a negative thought, because your mind is excellent in creating the fear, the negativity, everything around it. And in the mountains, the number of thoughts multiply. If you're getting, say, for example, 100 thoughts now, in the mountain, it's 1,000 thoughts. And here, out of 100, maybe 20 thoughts are positive. But in the mountains, all the 1,000 are negative.
yeah,
Right? It wants you to stop. It says, hey, what if you die? What if something happens to you? Right? It creates pain. Right? It does everything. So meditation helped me to actually transform those thoughts into positivity. Okay? And cycling helped me a lot. I used to do a lot of long distance cycling, like 600 kilometers, in 40 hours. And these are all endurance training. So when your mind is telling you to stop, can you take those 5 extra steps? Right? That's the best way to explain this. Right? When your mind is telling, okay, quits, can I just take 2 more steps? That is what is important in the mountains. Especially when you're climbing, you're like exhausted to the core. Right? Your mind says stop, but you just need to keep taking those 2 extra steps. Keep going.
okay.
So this is what is important.
Okay, so you said that you started since 2011,
Yeah.
right? So from 2011 and now, do you see the difference? Technology is helping climbers because we have the weather forecasting in place. We have a lot of technology available. So what is the difference you see back in 2011 and now 2022?
I don't know. I didn't know at that time. However, if I look back from now and look at what the climbers used to use at that time, say 20, 30 years back, technology has just rapidly changed the way mountaineering is done. Okay? Those days, if you see the videos, the shoes would weigh, each shoe would weigh around 2 kgs.
No.
Today, the pair is only 1 kg. They have become so light, but they are much more warmer than what it used to be 20 years back. And then you got something called the down suits, which is made out of the down feathers of the goose. And back those days, you didn't have the technology, right, to actually put the feathers together and stitch it. They would use a lot of woolen thing, the Kashmir
Right.
wool.
I did see that.
And they used to put layers of it, and that would all make it extremely heavy.
I think they used to carry 30-40 kgs,
They used to carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
They had to carry the tents
Yeah.
at that time. And believe me, the tents would fly away.
Right.
Because the fabric that is used now is totally different from what it used to be at that time. And even at 40-50 kilometers per hour winds, the tents in those days would just get torn or blown away. So technology has just, and even the gear, for example, the harness that you use, right, for your safety, the helmets, the headlamps, everything has just taken a complete shift, and I got due respect to those climbers in the early days, right? I would call them as the purest of the purest climbers.
Right.
Right.
I also got to know there's another concern we have, that shit problem. Yeah, because I got to know there's a lot of shit on this mountain now because it doesn't get rotten, right?
Yeah.
So you can see the shit everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And I guess there's a lot of things because right now I think it's getting accumulated, and now because people are get the water from the mountain, right? So did you also find shit everywhere on the mountain?
But things have taken a change in the last few years. Base camp is where you have got 1,200 people, the Everest base camp.
Yeah.
That is where the maximum accumulates, because you've got a 5-star, food you get there. Literally, you get a 5-star food. There's a kitchen, there's a big cooking staff. So, but what they're doing now is they're not allowing the shit to go into the ground. They're actually collecting it.
Okay.
And they need to get it back down. Okay.
Okay, you have to collect and you have to.
Yeah, the expedition companies will have to do that. and the Nepal government is getting stricter by the year, right? And you need to make sure that everything gets back. The challenge is as you go up, right? And the good news is you also sit less because you're eating less. Your appetite is completely gone, okay? And you cannot collect waste there and get it back. It's very, very difficult. So I would say there is something called Camp 4 of Everest at 7,900 meters altitude. It's very, very, very dirty today, right? There's a lot of waste, right? And it sometimes smells very bad. And I hope the government does something about it. The Nepal government does something about it.
Okay.
But it's a real problem.
Yeah. I have a very sensitive part. If you allow me to ask you, what's your age?
49.
49, right? So, at the age of 49, right? People are thinking to get retired.
Yeah.
They have a different mindset. Like, okay, I'm settling now. Even I have a plan to get retired at certain age and all. Why do you climb? You know all the facts and figures. You know the death chances. Like everything is there. So why do you climb? What is the reason? What is the motivation behind this? And what beauty you see of the mountain to make you like this?
See, I've never been a climber.
Yeah.
In fact, I just started climbing last year to fulfill my dream that I dreamt back in 2011 to summit Everest. Okay. And I started preparing for it since 2018. And I actually started climbing mountains just last year, September, October. And I thought, okay, once Everest is done, I'm done. However, when I go to the mountains, as I told you earlier, right, your awareness increases. And for me, the mountains have the ability to teach you some really good life lessons. For example, I used to be a very impatient person. Absolutely zero patience. Okay, if things didn't go according to plan, I would lose my patience. In the mountains, in the base camp, 1,000 things can go wrong. What do you do there? Lose patience? You can, but what do you do after that? Right? You just need to sit and wait for the weather to clear. So the mountains have taught me a lot of crucial lessons in terms of how I respond to certain events or certain situations. And to me, I get a level of quietness when I go up to the mountains, and I call that as meditation, right? If I sit at home and try to do meditation, it doesn't happen. But in the mountains, it happens. So after I summited Everest, right, the love for mountains has only increased, and I want to do more. And you're absolutely right, you know, my family, when they see me off to an expedition, they know that there is no guarantee Sunil is going to come back, right? That is the risk of high altitude mountaineering. But even then, they send me off with an happy face. Hats off to them, their courage, their bravery. And I should also say that, you know, it's because of their support that I've been able to do this. But again, to be coming back to the point, I think mountains are meditation to me.
Okay. So, did you get a chance to meet the death?
Yes.
You understand? It's a very sensitive part.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see that? Okay, like you have a situation, you know, like wind up situation. Okay, I will not do this again. I need to go back. I will die.
There was a situation that got me very close to me getting collapsed. And this happened at the Everest Base Camp, because what happens is when you go to the Everest Base Camp, you take almost 12 to 15 days to go from Lukla, a place called Lukla, all the way up to 5,300 meters. You take 12 to 15 days for your body to acclimatize. I made a mistake of reaching the base camp pretty fast, within 7 to 8 days, I would say.
And what was the reason behind it?
The reason was I had my family who had accompanied me, and we decided that we will take an helicopter from a particular place and reach EBC rather than they trekking throughout. And
so your wife was with you?
My wife and daughter had accompanied me. They left me at the base camp and then they returned back.
Okay.
So I took the helicopter, reached the base camp, and I decided to stay there rather than coming down and doing the rest of the trek. And within 3 days, the fluids had started accumulating in my lungs. And one night I could hear the sound, like a gargling sound, every time I used to breathe. So there was so much of fluid in it. So next day I went to the medical center. The doctor checked my SpO2. It was like 58.
And what is the normal one?
At that altitude, it has to be 75.
75, okay.
So it was 58, and the accumulation of fluids in the lungs was going up. And they said, it's almost like you are at the verge of collapse. And I could feel it because I had no energy. The breathing was a problem. I could feel that the entire body is like coming down. And I had to take an immediate decision to come down to Lukla, which is around 2,200 meters. I was admitted. I was administered oxygen for 3 days to get my SpO2 back to 92. And that is the time I realized that probably I may not be able to summit. But I really didn't have the thought of I need to go back home. Okay, so I recovered after a week, then again trekked back to Everest Base Camp, and then did the summit push.
So when you talk about the base camp, Sunil, I have seen that it is absolutely at the incline based, right? It's the base camp we have, like if you are going up there. So how do you sleep there? Like in the base camp, like you are decline or incline. I don't know what to say here, but you are absolutely on this incline, and how you sleep and how you focus, because when you are sleeping, you have to be in a proper position.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
No, the Everest Base Camp is at a flat land. Okay, so Everest Base Camp is the main base camp, which is at 5,300 meters. Okay, it's flat land and there is no problems there. The problems start happening from Camp 2 and Camp 3 onwards. So en route to Everest, there are 4 camps. Camp 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the biggest problem is Camp 3. Because in Camp 3, there is no flat land. It's always inclined.
Inclined, right?
And then, as you said, sleeping is a big problem because you're like literally slipping off the ground. But what they do is they have something called a sleeping mat that actually grips to the ground. And when you sleep on top of it, it doesn't allow you to, slide down. Okay? And sleep sometimes at that altitude is a problem. And for me, I could sleep well, fortunately, because the climbs used to be so tiring. By the time you used to reach a camp, have some food, you were so exhausted that the body would naturally go to sleep. So I didn't have any problems, but some people
do you actually fall asleep because the things which you are doing right now, and you have a lot of pressure and you have a lot of insecurity, you don't know what's going on there. All of a sudden, one rock will come, you are sleeping, you have no idea, one rock will come and hit your mind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, the fear is there. However, you need to sleep. Otherwise, your body will not be ready to move the next day. Okay, you need to at least sleep for a couple of hours. So if not for a big duration of time, at least 2 to 3 hours of sleep is a must, and normally climbers do get that hours of sleep.
So basically you have a group, right?
Yes.
And then it's properly roped and chained properly, right? So there's one coordination is very important when you climb, right?
Absolutely.
So
you're always in a group. You're always in a group, and each of the climber has a Sherpa guide. And just to let you know, without the Sherpas, there is no climbing.
Yeah, I was about to ask this part as well. Yeah.
And Sherpa is a group. It's a community in Nepal. Tenzing Norgay, who escorted Edmund Hillary, was a Sherpa.
Right.
And excellent climbers. They are used to that altitude. Their body is acclimatized to that altitude, extremely strong. And each climber today will have a designated Sherpa. So solo climbing is literally impossible in the Everest. Some people do, but 99.9% of the climbers have a Sherpa guide.
Okay. Now we can talk about the Everest, the complete process here. So what is the budget we have to climb, and what is the process of climbing, like right from stepping out from house?
Yeah.
So I want to hear, because my viewers would like to know more about it. Yeah. So can you please tell me, and these budgets are sponsored, you can also talk about it.
Okay, so high altitude climbing has gotten very expensive over the last 5 to 10 years for several reasons. One is there is already a lack of Sherpas, good Sherpas to take you up the mountain.
Can you talk about Sherpa? I know what is Sherpa, but if my viewers would like to know.
The Sherpa is a community in Nepal. They were actually from Tibet. However, several years back, they migrated from Tibet and started settling down in the border areas of Nepal and Tibet. And these are mountain regions, very high altitude, and they started settling there. And these are the people who are known to have extraordinary cardiovascular strength. They have extraordinary climbing abilities, because even today in some of the villages, the Sherpa kids have to climb up 5 to 6 kilometers to reach a school and come back the same distance, right? And it's not an easy climb. So these people are like trained from a very young age. They become excellent climbers, and these are the people who normally accompany climbers to the top of Everest. So it's a community.
How many people are there, like all the Sherpas family?
Sherpa is a big community. However, you have a shrinking base today, because a lot of the Sherpas today don't want their kids to become Sherpas. So they are educating them, they are sending them to good schools, they are sending them abroad. So that community itself is shrinking. And there are only a very few handful number of what you call international certified guides who are Sherpas. Okay, and I will come to the cost part of it.
Right.
So when you look at this, there are multiple factors. Okay, you need to pay a permit fee to the Nepal government, which is substantially high. It's almost like 7 lakh rupees that you have to just pay to the Nepal government. Not directly you paying, but the expedition company that you tie up with, right, will have to pay the Nepal government per climber something called a permit fee. And then you've got 3 categories of guides that you can choose from. One is a very basic Sherpa, okay, and this is the guy who has summited Everest 3 to 4 times. He's a good guy. He can take you. He can carry some of your stuff if required. He knows how to operate the oxygen regulator, right? He knows all the basic stuff, and he can lead you to Everest. However, if there's a medical emergency, these people will struggle to do the right things for you, right? Evacuation, the first aid, they are not well trained. That is where the second category of Sherpas come into picture. So these are internationally certified guides. There is a certification authority called IFMGA, and very difficult to pass these examinations. And only a few Sherpas who are fluent in English, who have dedicated their lives to climbing, they pass these examinations. Okay, and they are expert in evacuation. They're expert in first aid, right? And you will feel that you are almost in safe hands. Okay, there are a lot of other factors that are beyond their control as well, but you can be assured that, hey, if something happens to me, like a frostbite, a simple frostbite, they will know what to do. Okay, so the cost of these guides, or the salaries that are paid to these guides per expedition, is very high. Okay, so the price increases. And then there is something called VIP expedition.
Yeah.
Okay, like you would have seen the 14 Peaks documentary, Nimsdai, and very popular climbers, they take a group. Okay, and it becomes more of a social media promotion if you go with them, and they are the most expensive, right? So if I break this up into categories, the basic Sherpa, you will at least need a minimum of 25 lakhs. Okay, this is just your expedition cost. Okay, it excludes your insurance, it excludes the gear that you need to buy. The gear is very expensive, by the way, right? The suit that you wear, the boots you wear. And then the next category, which is the experienced, the certified guide, that would be between 30 to 35 lakhs. Okay, and then when you go to the
VIP one.
type, that can go up to 45-50 lakhs.
It can go more than that, so.
It can go more than that. I did see one Mexican. It was literally a joke this year, right? He paid almost, I was told that he paid around $300,000 to carry his huge piano, the piano stand, up to the Everest and play piano there. He wanted to create a world record.
Yeah.
Right? And literally I could see he was not climbing. He was being carried by the Sherpas. Right? So it was a shame to mountaineering, right? The hard work that the climbers do.
They do. Yeah.
When they see somebody, carried with a piano, it was heartening. I saw that, he was playing a piano when I submitted. So it's very expensive. Very expensive.
So when you talk about these tour organizations we have here, which one you have taken in?
These are called expedition companies. And this year there were around 36 expedition companies.
Which one you have chosen?
I chose something called 8K Expeditions.
And what are the parameters you had in your mind to choose any specific tour agency?
I was looking for an expedition company last year, and I reached out to several people, several expedition companies, and all they did was, okay, you want to do this? Okay, here is the fee. Okay, you want to do Everest 2 years down the lane? Here is the fee. But this expedition company, the owner of that company, he decided to call me. And he wanted to understand why I wanted to do mountaineering in the first place, right? Because I didn't have any experience, nothing. I was just absolutely new to mountaineering. And just to let you know, I was also not given admission in any mountaineering institutions in India because they got a age cutoff, just like any other institutions.
Right.
Some had a 35-year cutoff, some had 40 years of age cutoff, and I couldn't get admission. So I couldn't learn climbing from an institution. So this guy calls me, understands a lot, touches my ego. And that is when I realized, hey man, this guy has something in him. Okay. So I decided to try them out, and they turned out to be an excellent team of climbers, trainers. And this guy literally taught me years and years of knowledge in just around 15 to 20 days. And that's when I decided that, I will do all my expeditions with them, and I've stuck to them. And that also helps, right? You get to know the people, you get to know your guide very well. The person who was guiding me this year, I know him from almost 6 to 7 months. So we had built a very good bond, right? We knew each other well, and that really helped. So it's 8K Expeditions.
So as far as I know, there are 18 routes we have to climb, and there are two very famous routes we have. One is from northeast ridge that comes from China, and one is South Col from Nepal.
Yeah.
So you have taken the Nepal one.
I've taken the South Col, which is the Nepal route. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I have also heard other routes are so difficult to climb. Is it true?
The North Col, every route has its own sweet challenges. It's not that one route is tougher than the other. Every route has its challenge. Every route will dictate on that day what that route is all about, the weather, right? Okay. And you also dictate what your mindset is on that day. You might carry a lot of positivity with you, your body might be great. So every route has its own sweet challenges. However, a lot of people climb from the South Col because there is the Lhotse phase, the yellow band. There are multiple sections that are extremely challenging. And China side, it's very hard to get a visa in the first place, right, to climb from China. And the north side, some people say it's a little bit easier, but again, it's very hard for me to comment because I find that every mountain, big or small, brings its own sweet challenges on that particular day.
And do we have a military base there? Have you seen any military base in some of the mountains area?
No, not in the Nepal side. Not in the Nepal side.
So which one is a safer one? I have seen mountaineers, they travel in the morning or sometimes they travel at night.
Yeah.
So which one is the good one and what you have taken?
Some of the summit push always happen at night for the simple reason that in the morning when the sun is out, there are risks of avalanche.
Avalanche, okay.
Yeah. Number two, it gets extremely warm, right? And you start sweating literally, even though it is very cold. The sun is also very warm. The sunlight is, striking your eyes through the snow.
Okay.
There is a little chance of getting snow blindness because of that light. So there are a lot of risks of doing a summit push in the morning, right? And some of the danger zones you always cover in the night, like the Kumbu icefall, right? In the morning when the sun comes out, the melting happens, right? The ice block may just collapse. So that is a section that you normally cross in the night. And the final summit push from Camp 4 to the Everest summit also starts at night. So very dangerous sections, you always do the push in the night rather than in the morning.
So Sunil, what kind of health checkup you go through, and what kind of medical device or other type of equipments you carry along with yourself?
Okay, so the unfortunate part is the expedition companies nor the Nepal government, when they issue the permit, ask for any medical checkups. That's the unfortunate part.
Because of the commercial business?
Commercial business. However, there is at least one small check when you're taking the insurance, right? Because you need to buy a emergency evacuation insurance, then your life cover, and this is the time when the insurance companies ask for a medical certificate. Now, if you don't get the insurance, people don't climb because it's very risky, right? If something happens, there is no way that any help will come to you. So the only check that is happening today, unfortunately, is through the insurance companies. The expedition companies or the Nepal government is least bothered. And that is becoming a big problem because every person who has a lot of big pockets, they are coming to climb, right? And they become extremely slow when climbing, and you've got just one rope. It's not like a 6-lane highway.
Right.
You just have one rope. The same rope is used for climbing and also for coming down. And when somebody in front of you slows down, right, very difficult to overtake him.
Right.
Because you're all hooked up to the fixed line, you're wearing those big mittens, and if you want to, take off the safety from the rope and go over him, and it's extremely torturous. So I've seen a lot of people, just because of money, they come and climb. They don't have the training. They have not trained themselves. They just take things for granted, and these are the people who put risk to everybody else on the mountains.
Okay, so at the age of 49, did you pay heavy insurance amount? Because they might judge you're 49 if you have a climber who's 35 or 30 or 25. So did you pay any extra?
No, the higher fees is applicable at the age of 50.
Oh, okay.
So I was younger.
At the age. Okay.
I was younger.
Okay. So what kind of medical and the type of equipments you carry?
You don't carry much equipments at all, because the only thing that you carry is an oxygen cylinder, a 4 kg oxygen cylinder in your bag, and apart from that, you are literally carrying nothing.
But I have seen a lot of equipments, like like I don't know the name of those equipments, but I did see that in one of the videos.
None of them are carried to the summit push on the Everest, because every gram starts weighing like an elephant.
Oh.
Your 4 kg oxygen tank itself will be weighing like 20 kgs.
Wow.
Because the gravity is pulling you down, your mind is also playing its tricks. However, any of the emergency medicines that you take, you can carry them up to the respective camps and keep it there at the respective camp, but you're not carrying a lot of things when you're doing the summit push.
Okay. So we talk about all those things. So we don't have a family there, like not having so many family there up in the hills. I have seen few videos, like there's a base camps, people are staying there, Sherpas and everything. So where exactly they stay?
The base camp is set up when the expedition starts. Okay, there is something called an Everest base camp.
Yeah.
It's called EBC for short. A lot of people go to trek to EBC. They do a trekking to EBC. Okay, that base camp is almost like 1.8 kilometers from one end to another end. You will find a lot of tents. You will find kitchens. You will find. This year there were around 1,200 people in the Everest base camp. Right, that is the most equipped camp that you can find en route to Everest. No families stay there. The Sherpas don't stay there forever because once the expedition is done, the base camp is just dismantled.
Okay.
There's no remains of any tents or anything there.
Okay, what is the best time to climb?
Everest is only climbable during the month of May.
Okay.
Right? There is something called a weather window, and
It starts from May, I guess? May
the
to June?
weather window happens in May, but you will not know the exact dates till the season starts. Okay.
Okay.
This year, the weather window was between May 10th to May 24th. It was a pretty long weather window. So, what is a weather window? If you look at the height of Everest, it's 8848.86 meters, just 120 meters below the stratosphere. The wind speeds at that height throughout the year is between 240 to 260 kilometers per hour. Nothing can stand that wind speed. Okay. Now, what happens during this weather window? A cyclonic storm starts in the Bay of Bengal, and it starts creating a wind stream in the opposite direction, and it starts going up to the mountain. And the wind stream is also in the range of 240 to 250 kilometers per hour. And when they collide, it neutralizes, and then the effective wind speed becomes around 10 to 15 kilometers per hour on the top. This is the only time you can climb.
But I have seen people going to climb in the month of October as well.
October is called the winter climbing. It's very, very few people, just 5 to 10 people do that climb.
But what is the difference like here? I understand the weather part.
The wind speeds during that time for some other countering reasons is literally between 50 to 60 kilometers per hour.
And it's a very thin wind, right? It's very sharp.
It's very sharp wind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they just go wait, and they are like literally going up and waiting for the wind to stabilize. That's when they climb. It's very, very difficult. Only few people in the world can do it. And last year, a couple of them attempted it, and they couldn't succeed. They went up to Camp 3 and couldn't go up beyond that.
Will they have the Sherpa as well?
They usually do solo.
Solo?
Yeah, they do the alpine style, right? These are what you call the pure climbers. Very few of them across the world.
They just want to face the challenge. That's why they do
Josh
it.
Kabush is one of them. He tried it in last year, November, and he was there for literally several weeks, and the winds did not stabilize, and he had to come back down.
Okay.
So the normal climbing season is only in May.
And I have seen, this is a very interesting part, I have seen a lot of climbers from Bangalore. After I got in touch with you on Insta. I got so many requests from Insta that they are from Bangalore. So is it true, like we have a lot of mountaineers from Bangalore?
No, not really. Bangalore has got a lot of trekkers. Okay, there is a big difference between trekking and mountaineering. Okay. Trekking is you do some long distance walks, right? The ascent is gradual, right? And you find a lot of trekkers. And if you really want climbers, Maharashtra has got a lot of them. I think it is because of the love for Sahyadris, right? A lot of these Everest summiters are from Maharashtra, or
especially
from
from
Himachal
Mumbai.
Pradesh, around the Pune area, right? From Karnataka, I am the first person.
Oh, you're the first one?
Yeah, I'm the first person from Karnataka.
Maybe I got confused because I have seen one of the pictures of those people, like they are some snows were there. So I thought maybe
they are doing a lot of these smaller mountains in Himachal Pradesh, a 6,000er or a 7,000er. Some of them do 6,000er peaks in Nepal. But I would not classify Bangaloreans to be.
So you are the only one from Karnataka, specifically from Bangalore.
I'm the first male from Karnataka.
Wow!
There was a
Congratulations.
female, a lady who had summited Everest from Karnataka a few years back, and she is the first woman, and I'm the first male.
Wow. I had no clue about it. So thank you so much for sharing with me. Okay. So Sunil, I'm coming to a point where I'm going to discuss about your family, because the things which you are doing and you have been doing, it's a very risky part,
Yeah.
right?
You can see the night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
And that is when my wife believed in my dream and I believed in my capabilities. Right? So that's what I tell my kids. Whatever it is, just go out and do it passionately. Dream big. Don't be afraid to dream. However, never dream or never doubt your dreams. What happens is, if you say, I want to summit Everest, the next opposing thought is, oh, if I can't do that, I will go and do something else.
There should not be plan B.
Exactly. So what you're telling is, subconsciously you're telling, hey, I'm not able to do Everest, I'm incapable, so I'll do this. So what you're going to achieve at the end is plan B. So never doubt your dreams, never doubt your capabilities, just pursue everything passionately.
Wonderful. So, what is one thing you will bring away from the cultures and from different people you were together, right? What is one thing you would like to bring from that different people you met or you're exposed to?
I think I have met a lot of people. However, what I would like to bring back is the beauty of the Sherpas, right? They are extremely humble people, right? God-fearing, loving people. They just love everybody, everyone in the world, and they are able to give their life to protect their client.
Right.
They can literally, I've seen them literally take off their oxygen cylinders and give it to the climbers. They are like awesome people. I think if I have to bring down something culturally, it is the humbleness, the strength and the courage of these people.
Very well done. So what else do you have in the bucket list right now? What you're thinking?
Several things. I'm going to summit 2 more 8,000 peaks. I've got a project called 3 into 8K. That is 3 8,000 peaks. So I've ticked off the tallest one.
Okay.
And I've got 2 more to complete. I'll be doing one of them in September this year, and most likely another one in April, May of next year. And after that, I think I'm going to start basically inspiring the younger generation, right? Just not to take up mountaineering, just as I said, to take up anything that they want to pursue. Right? Today, the youth are extremely strong today. They have all the capabilities, but they're also taking a back step. If I can motivate them, inspire them by showing the way I have achieved things, by giving the life story, right? That would be something that I would be very happy about.
Very well done, Sunil. I don't know how much time we have spent together. It's a very candid conversation we had together, and definitely my learning is phenomenal. And this is one of the interviews which I enjoy. I don't want to finish it up because we have the time frame. We have to do that. Let's have my favorite round, rapid fire. Now I have only 2 questions for you. I'm not gonna put a lot of questions here. What do you think the meaning of life is?
Life is just looking at everything positively and going with the flow.
And what do you wish you have learned sooner?
Patience.
I feel that in your 20s you were a very aggressive guy, right? I feel that somehow I feel that you were very aggressive. Like I need this, I need to do this.
Very aggressive, and even in my 40s.
yeah. That's what I figured it out somehow. I don't know why, but
that's true.
That's true. Okay, so that is a very candid conversation with you, Sunil. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. It's my honor to meet you. It's my small gesture I have whenever we have a guest. So we have a small gesture for you. So guys, this is the conversation with Sunil Natraj, and I'm sure you have learned a lot of things. In case if you want to know more about it, I will put your Instagram ID and everything, and LinkedIn ID as well. You can connect, you can talk to him. He's a very supportive person, and definitely he's gonna be a pioneer for your mountaineer climbing as well. So तब तक के लिए बड़ों को नमस्कार, छोटों को प्यार, मिलते हैं आपसे नेक्स्ट एपिसोड में.